Welcome to our video about the fascinating world of Pokemon and their placement on the Tree of Life. Today, we take a closer look at Ninetales and its relationship with Sandslash. Fiery is a mere order of placental mammals in Grand Order Ferungulata that groups together clades Pancarnivora, that includes carnivorans and their fossil relatives, and Phollidotomorpha, pangolins and their fossil relatives. The common feature for members of this mere order is ossified tentorium cerebelli and the fusion of the scaphoid and lunate bones in the wrist. The common features for members of clade Pancarnivora are heterodont teeth that are sharp and for cutting meat, canine teeth that are usually large, conical, pointed, thick and stress-resistant, and presence of the carnassial teeth. Carnassials are a feature that allows distinguishing the carnivore Morpha, Oxyanodonta, and Hyenodonta from the other carnivorous placental mammals. However, these mammals are distinguished between themselves based on the position of the carnassial teeth and the number of molars. The carnassial teeth of the carnivore Morpha are located in P4 and M1, in Oxyanodonta are M1 and M2, and in Hyenodonta and close relatives are M2 and M3. This appears to be a case of a possible evolutionary convergent adaptation towards similar diet. According to recent studies, the closest relatives of Fiery are members of clade Panungulata, group that includes mere order Ungulata and extinct genus Protungulatum. Together they form Grand Order Ferungulata. An alternate phylogeny holds that the closest relative to Fiery is order Perissodactyla, with whom they form a clade Zoomata. Together, clade Zoomata and order Chiroptera form clade Pegasophori, and Pegasophori is sister taxon to order Artiodactyla within clade Scrotifera. However, subsequent molecular studies have generally failed to support this proposal. The carnivorans, Carnivora, are an order of mammals, Mammalia, that include the dog-like, Caniformia, and cat-like, Feliformia, species. As predators that primarily feed on vertebrates, carnivorans are found almost worldwide, with 16 extant families and over 280 species in 128 genera. The scientific name carnivora means meat-eaters, derived from the Latin words caro, genitive carnis, for meat and vorare for devour. However, not all are exclusively meat-eaters. For example, bears, Ursidae, are opportunistic omnivores, and some species are predominantly herbivorous, such as the giant panda. Carnivorans exhibit a wide variety of external attributes and habitats. This diversity is evident when comparing the smallest carnivoran, the least weasel, whose females weigh less than 50 g, to the largest carnivoran, the southern elephant seal, whose bulls can grow up to 6.5 meters long and weigh more than 3.5 tons. The dentition of land-dwelling carnivoran families is based on the following dental formula: incisors, 3/3, canines, 1/1, premolars, 4/4, molars, 3/3. Depending on the carnivoran species, the teeth vary in shape and size, with canines, commonly called fangs, not carnassials, see below, generally being highly elongated. Almost all species have 6 small incisors in both the upper and lower jaws. Exceptions include the sloth bear, which has only 2 upper incisors per side to facilitate insect feeding through the gap, and the sea otter, which has only 4 lower incisors in total. All land carnivorans possess a distinctive dental feature called the P4/M1 carnassial pair, composed of 2 sharp carnassial teeth that are excellent for slicing meat. In each jaw half, 2 carnassials form such a functional unit. The upper carnassial is the last premolar in the upper jaw, premolar 4 equals P4, while the lower one is the first molar, molar 1 equals M1, in the lower jaw. In hyenas, they are particularly strong and even capable of breaking large bones, while in omnivores like bears and raccoons, they are less pronounced. The remaining molars of carnivorans are usually relatively small compared to the prominent carnassials. Some groups, such as cats, have a reduced number of molars. The dentition of pinnipeds, seals, differs significantly from that of land-dwelling carnivorans. It is specialized for gripping slippery fish and consists of 1 or 2 pairs of lower incisors, often relatively inconspicuous canines, and 12 to 24 conical, homodont, uniform, molars. Extreme adaptations include the tusks of the walrus or the modified molars of the crab-eater seal. Characteristic of carnivore skulls are expansive zygomatic arches, a large temporal fossa as the origin of the powerful temporalis muscle important for biting, and the connection between the eye socket and the temporal fenestra. The lower jaw is anchored in the upper jaw so that it can only move up and down. Sideways movements like chewing are not possible. Carnivores have 4 or 5 toes on each foot. The thumb cannot be opposed to the other toes and is reduced or absent in some species. The carpal bones are usually fused, stabilizing the wrist joint. The clavicle is reduced or absent in both seals and other groups. In other mammals, it allows for lateral limb movements. Carnivores, however, primarily move their legs forward and backward to pursue prey. Some carnivores, like cats and dogs, walk on their toes, while others, like bears, are plantigrade. Some, such as cats and civets, possess retractable claws. The limbs of seals are highly modified into flippers, with the toes connected by webbing. With about 270 species, carnivores are one of the more diverse orders of mammals. They are found on all continents, though in Antarctica only along the coasts. Apart from colonies of eared seals on the southern coast, Australia was once free of carnivores. However, the dingo was introduced in historic times, and the red fox and domestic cat were introduced by humans in modern times. All families of cat-like carnivores, except cats themselves, which also occur in North and South America, are naturally confined to the Old World. 2 families, Malagasy carnivores and linsangs, have small distribution ranges and are found exclusively on Madagascar and in Central Africa, respectively. The remaining 3, hyenas, mongooses, and civets, are distributed across Africa, Asia, and marginal areas of Europe. Among dog-like carnivores, dogs, bears, and mustelids are nearly worldwide and are absent only from Australia and Antarctica. Bears have, however, gone extinct in Africa with the Atlas bear during the Holocene. Skunks are found in Southeast Asia and America, red pandas are limited to Asia, and procyonids live exclusively in America. In 3 families, aquatic carnivores inhabit coastal waters on all continents and a few freshwater lakes. Carnivores' habitats are diverse, with few environments they do not inhabit. They are found from the polar ice cap to tropical rainforests and from coastal seas to arid deserts. The range of social behavior is not only broad among carnivores, but also varies greatly within individual species groups. Social structure is often closely tied to hunting methods and diet. Some species live in packs, wolves, lions, or colonies, sea lions, while others are solitary, leopard, brown bear, or live in family groups, jackals. Most carnivores are meat-eaters. They obtain their meat through hunting or scavenging. A significant portion of carnivora is omnivorous, consuming meat along with other food like berries or grasses. Many smaller carnivores, like mongooses, and some larger species, like the bat-eared fox, aardwolf, and sloth bear, largely feed on invertebrates, primarily insects. Some carnivores, such as the giant panda, linsang, and kinkajou, are predominantly or almost exclusively herbivorous. Despite this, there are numerous highly specialized predators within this order. The methods by which carnivores catch their prey are varied. Some species, like wild dogs, chase their prey to exhaustion, while others stalk their prey and surprise them with a quick attack, as seen in cats. Martens can chase agile squirrels in trees, weasels pursue rodents into their burrows, and seals hunt fish. Large seals, like elephant seals, dive to depths of over 1,000 meters. Some carnivores can take down animals much larger than themselves. For instance, tigers can kill gaur, large cattle from Southeast Asia, and stoats can kill rabbits that are many times their body weight. Some species rely on group hunting, while others hunt alone. Recent molecular genetic analyses have clarified the relationships among carnivore families. It is now well established that within the dog-like carnivores, canids, dogs, stand apart from all other current groups, which are collectively termed Arctoidea. The Arctoidea are divided into 3 main clades: bears, seals, and musteloids, mustelid relatives. The latter includes red pandas, skunks, procyonids, and mustelids. Red pandas are the sole extant group within the Ailuridae. The giant panda, however, is now classified with the Ursidae, bears. The position of the extinct Amphicyonidae within the dog-like carnivores remains unclear. Within the cat-like carnivores, the African palm civet, currently represented by only one species in Central Africa, surprisingly emerged as its own family, distinct from all other surviving families in the cat branch. Additionally, all Malagasy carnivores form a monophyletic group closely related to mongooses. The sister group to these two is likely the hyenas. Therefore, within the cat-like carnivores, three main lines are distinguishable: 1. The African palm civet, 2. A group consisting of civets, hyenas, mongooses, and Malagasy carnivores, and 3. Cats and linsangs. The exact position of the extinct Amphicyonidae within the cat-like carnivores remains unresolved. Barbour. According to conventional wisdom, carnivores had already split into the two major carnivore lineages, the cat-like, Feliformia, and dog-like, Caniformia, in the early Paleocene. The oldest group of the former was previously considered to be the extinct family Viverravidae, which is already documented in the Paleocene. One of their representatives was, for example, the delicate, tree-dwelling genus Protectus. The Myosidae were usually regarded as the earliest group of the dog-like carnivores, appearing around the late Paleocene. Originally, the Myosids were even considered the precursors of all carnivores. Their paws were flexible, indicating climbing abilities, and they had a full set of 44 teeth. The carnassial dentition, carnassial pair, was already developed. However, newer studies suggest that Myosids and Viverrivids are not the direct ancestors of the two carnivore lines, but should be placed entirely outside of carnivora. The Myosids do not even appear to be a monophyletic group. Viverrivids and Myosids, however, are still grouped with carnivores into a taxon known as Carnivoromorpha according to these findings. These results indicate that the two main lines of carnivora diverged only about 43 million years ago. One of the oldest families from the cat branch is the Nimravidae, which strongly resemble cats, Felidae, but are considered a separate family. They first appeared in the late Eocene of North America and Eurasia. Another family, the Barbourifelidae, was originally classified as a subfamily of Nimravidae but is now regarded as a separate family. The Barbourifelidae went extinct in the late Miocene with the North American genus Barbouriphelus. The first representative of cats themselves was Proailurus from the Oligocene and Miocene of Europe. It was about the size of an ocelot. In the Miocene, cats first migrated to North America and quickly displaced the Nimravids living there. In the Pliocene, they also migrated to South America. The other families of cat-like carnivores, except for a North American hyena genus of the Pliocene, remained confined to the Old World and never reached the Americas. The second lineage of carnivores is the dog-like carnivores. Their eponymous family, the dogs, Canidae, is mainly represented in North America in terms of evolutionary history and was originally confined to this continent. The genus Hesperocyon from the Middle Eocene was the first known representative of this family. Dogs reached Europe in the Miocene and Africa, Asia, and South America not before the Pliocene. The second family, the bears, also first appeared in North America and reached Eurasia and Africa in the Miocene. Unlike modern forms, the first bear was still quite small. Perictus from the late Eocene had a skull only 7 centimeters long. The other families of dog-like carnivores, including the extinct family Amphicyonidae, are documented from the early Oligocene in both North America and the Old World. Dog-like carnivores reached South America, like cats, only in the Pliocene after the formation of the Central American land bridge. Only the procyonids are documented on this continent from the late Miocene. The seals, which are part of the Arctoidea group within the dog-like carnivores, are known only from the Oligocene. Inhalearctos, for example, already had flippers and lived in the late Oligocene of California. The molars of this early genus were hardly modified carnassials typical of land carnivores. Representatives that can be assigned to the 3 seal families are known from the Miocene. Eared seals and walruses were then widespread along the North Pacific coasts, while true seals lived in the North Atlantic. Before the carnivora evolved into the apex predators, this niche was filled by two other orders of mammals that became extinct long ago. The first were the Mesonychia, carnivorous ungulates widespread in the Paleocene and Eocene. They produced the first large meat-eaters among higher mammals. Other groups of predatory mammals included the Hyaenodonta and the Oxyanodonta, initially grouped as creodonts. In the early Paleogene, true carnivores were still relatively small, but creodonts were represented by a remarkable variety of large meat-eaters. Like the carnivora, the creodonts had developed a carnassial dentition. However, the carnassials of carnivores and creodonts consisted of different molars, evidence that both groups evolved independently and convergently. On the continents of Australia and South America, where no modern carnivores lived for a long time, the role of larger meat-eaters was originally filled by various marsupial species. In South America, carnivorous marsupials of the order Sparassodonta lived until the Pliocene, which also included the saber-toothed cat-like genus Thylacosmolus. With the formation of the Central American Land Bridge and the Great American Biotic Interchange at the end of the Pliocene, carnivora migrated from North America and displaced their South American competitors. Under Australia's unique conditions, some medium-sized carnivores evolved among marsupials, such as the quolls and Tasmanian devil, which belong to the Dasyuromorphia. Another family of Dasyuromorphia includes the thylacine, which disappeared in the 20th century. Carnivores outside Dasyuromorphia included the marsupial lions, which became extinct in the Pleistocene, or carnivorous kangaroo species of the genus Ecaltodetta, which already became extinct in the late Miocene. Dogs, Canidae, are a family within the superfamily Canidae. This family includes various species referred to as foxes and jackals, coyotes, as well as wolves, whose domesticated subspecies, the domestic dog, lends its name to the group. Canidae are found on all continents. Originally, they were absent in Australia, New Guinea, New Zealand, Madagascar, and Antarctica, but in many of these regions, they have been introduced, usually in the form of the domestic dog, by humans. In Australia, there is even a secondary feral form of the domestic dog, the dingo. It is difficult to make general statements about the behavior of canids, because the individual genera and species differ too much. For example, while all canids are, by definition, carnivores and therefore exhibit hunting and killing behavior, this behavior already differs significantly between wolves and domestic dogs. The different behaviors develop in wolves and foxes between the 4th and 5th weeks of life. Eric Zyman observed that fox pups collect food scraps during feeding, bury them in the surroundings, and only then begin to consume them. Young wolves, on the other hand, consume as much food as possible and only then bury food remains. Michael W. Fox describes similar behavioral patterns among all canids, such as initiating social encounters by mutually examining the genital and anal areas and, in some cases, the ears, mouth, and anal gland. Sniffing the tail gland region is observed mainly in red, Arctic, and gray foxes, less often in coyotes, and practically not at all in domestic dogs, as the tail gland is rarely present in them. Some behavioral patterns are also recognized between species. For example, Fox describes a successful play invitation to a chihuahua by a coyote, mutual submission between young coyotes and wolves, and play sequences between an adult wolf and a red fox. That's it for now. In the next episode, we'll take a closer look at Wigglytuff and its relationships with Raichu and Raticate. Feel free to subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and check in next time.